Today, we're going to go into how much fat per day, per meal. Y'all are still confused, so let's get into it. Welcome everyone to this very humble channel. Now, I've been on the internet for a very long time and people are just either refinding me or finding me for the first time. And I have all these videos warning you to be careful about fasting and about carnivore diets, that you guys are willy-nilly playing a Russian roulette with your health. But with that said, a lot of you guys simply do not understand the fat. I've been talking a lot lately about how much and why, but let's break it down even more. The types of fats you're going to consume, it's very easy. You consume animal fat. The only time I recommend plant fat is if your gallbladder is freaking out, because animal fats are mainly LCT. That means long chain triglyceride. And if I break that down, they're big chunky fats that the body has to go and release bile and lipase and scrub it, break it down so your body can absorb it into the bloodstream and use it. It's not the liver that is burdened by the fat. It is the problem is that when your gallbladder is not functioning properly and you can't break that fat down, the types of fats that you consume, it's very simple. You consume animal fat to get into ketosis. The only time you do not use animal fats in excess is when you have a gallbladder issue. I've done a ton of videos on what gallbladder issues look like nausea and pale stool and floating stool and shoulder blade pain, or the aversion to eat more fat. That's when you would go for the short-term fat trimmings, suet if you can tolerate it, if you don't have a histamine response, solid fat, or you can air fry it, solid fat, or the trimmings around the beef. Now, tallow is a rendered fat. That means the fat that has been cooked and melts and drips and is collected in a jar, that is tallow. Lard is the same thing. That's pork fat. And then we have butter, which is the milk fats. My main fats are lard and butter. I used to eat a lot of tallow, but I got tired of it. So I sit really well with butter and lard. I don't have a histamine towards either of them, so I'm very, very lucky. And I can just throw it on meals nonstop. I'm doing this video because you want to understand, what does it look like on the plate? How much fat per day, and what does it look like each meal? All right, my beautiful people, let's break it down. Here I have a stick of Vital Farms butter. As you can see right there, they have the lines for those who are living in Europe. 1 tablespoon is 15 grams. That is a tablespoon. What I recommend, if I go this way, let's go this way. I recommend 3 tablespoons per meal. That's per meal. That much per meal. 3 tablespoons per meal. Not per day, per meal. Ultimately, you want to have about 12 tablespoons of fat per day. Oops. This is a tablespoon. That's a tablespoon. This is a teaspoon. So for those who live in Europe, teaspoon is about 4 to 6 grams, depending on the size. But a tablespoon is 15 grams. We want 12 of these all day. And it's easy. 3 here, 3 there, 2 here, 1 there, and it adds up real fast. See that visual? This is 3 we go. This is 3. 1, 2, 3. That's how much you need per meal. And for those who want to understand how many meals, at least 3 main meals a day, like when you were a kid, a breakfast, a lunch, and a dinner. And I suggest fat in between, not to feed you, but to keep your blood sugar stable. It has nothing to do with hunger. And that would be a tablespoon. So that is roughly that much. That's a tablespoon. Or here's a clear tablespoon right here. Boom. That's a tablespoon. And that's how much fat you're going to have in between. That is a tablespoon. You can have that with egg yolks if you don't have a histamine response to egg yolks. You can have that with avocado. You can have that with a bacon strip, with an ounce or 2 of ground beef or liver or kidney. So 3, it's either 3, then 2 in between, or 3 and 1. So you could do 3 for breakfast, 1 or 2 for a snack to keep the blood sugar stable. Then you can do 3 for lunch, 3 for dinner, and 1 or 2 in between. I can eat one of these for breakfast without even blinking, because I don't have a gallbladder problem whatsoever. And I can eat one of these in like 10 minutes. I mean, I'm addicted to it. It tastes like cottage cheese to me because I've been eating butter for so long. People are like, well, how do you eat the butter? I'm just like this. That's it. But typically I'll take a fork of meat and a tablespoon of butter together and eat it. And it's like taking meat and cream cheese and eating it. It's so simple. If you don't like doing that, because I like mine sort of semi-hard, you can melt it and you could drip it and pour it all over your food and eat it on your food. If you're doing a lunchtime asparagus, drip it on your asparagus, drip it on your beef, drip it on your lamb or your fish or whatever. I think you guys are overcomplicating how to get that fat in, like it's some cryptic secret. Just eat it, drip it, put it in a carnivore latte, which is like a couple of egg yolks, butter or lard or tallow. You can add a little dash of salt, use a frother, some cinnamon, and it's a latte, a carnivore latte. Remember, animal fat, because animal fats are long chain triglycerides. You need a gallbladder to break it down. Things like coconut oil. Now, butter is supposed to be semi-MCT, but it really acts like an LCT, medium chain triglyceride. It doesn't act in as far as the gallbladder is concerned. People still have problems with butter if they have a gallbladder issue. Some don't, some do, and everybody is different. Now, the tallow, that's pretty hard to break down if you have a gallbladder issue in terms of sludge or no gallbladder or stones, but you can use the supplements like lipase or TUDCA or malic acid or taurine or glycine or lemon water or bile salts. It just depends on the person what supplement works best to help encourage the breakdown or the release of bile or flushes to get rid of stones or unthicify the gallbladder or to get the biliary duct system moving by liver and then the kidneys and then the gallbladder and then the pancreas. I got a lot of videos talking about this subject. Just remember, you have to eat high fat. And if you have a problem with your gallbladder, like I said, that's when you would use like an olive oil, which is still considered somewhat of an LCT, but it's much easier to break down than an animal fat that's a long chain triglyceride. You could also use coconut oil. None of these are very ketogenic, but at least your brain doesn't think you starving, right? So you're going to have less of a cortisol reaction if you use a plant fat, if you have a junked up gallbladder or no gallbladder, until you get things worked out. Now, if you have a no gallbladder, then your body still produces bile. So don't worry, it's just not as concentrated. It drips not as evenly as it does from the gallbladder, but you still produce bile. You might need a little encouragement to get the liver to function properly. And no, the liver is going to be fine on high fat. That's not the problem. It's the carbs and the sugar. It's called advanced glycation end product ages, where sugar actually can make your liver fatty, especially fructose. Fat, it's going to be harder to make ketones if you have a fatty liver, but fat doesn't create a fatty liver. So there's a lot of I hate to use this expression, information or details or knowledge, better, misknowledge on the subject. I can't stand to use their words. Ugh. I digress. Make sure that in the beginning that you use an animal fat unless you have a gallbladder issue, and then if you decide to use plant fat or a trimming rather than the long chain tallow, lard, or butter, that it's only for the short term. Work on the gallbladder or the lack of having a gallbladder, and then get over to ketosis land and get to the animal fat. Don't be using that plant fat for too long. At least 3 tablespoons of fat per meal, but really you can also go up to 60 grams of fat. So here we've got 45 and 60. So 4 tablespoons of butter is what's really good for a main meal, especially if you're dealing with hypoglycemia or your ketones are in the toilet. And also remember, if you guys want to know how much salt, that's a teaspoon. 4 to 6 grams, that's a teaspoon. That's it for the whole day. So you could fill it up with salt and then like dink, 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 dink. And then you can have a eyeball understanding of how much salt to consume, because if you take too much salt, it'll slam down your potassium and you're going to be thirsty and drinking up to a gallon of water and diluting the sodium and being on this terrible loop of cramps, nausea, and feeling tired and blood sugar that's out of control when you don't regulate your salt. Hydration is not just about water, it's about your minerals as well. Fat per day. 12 tablespoons, 200 grams, 2 to 300 grams of fat per day, and about 45 per meal, or 60 in the main meals. And don't fast. And don't eat twice a day. Eat at least 3 with possible 2 other snacks. And I'm out, because now I got to edit this video. Energy at 56. Soon, I'll be 57. Freaking trip. But I'm excited to turn 60, and I want to show people that we don't have to fall apart and go through all these hormonal freakouts and flashes and atrophied muscle and low libido and no more testosterone and tired and aging. It doesn't have to be that way, my people. Treat your body like it's a temple and act like you're training for the Olympics, and the body will love you back. Peace. StephaniePerson.com. Let's get there. You guys need a consultation. I've been doing this a long time. My people are my source of information, because I don't care what doctor you go to. They don't got what I got. They don't. They don't, because they're not taught nutrition. And you need that when you're eating nutrition and when that's connected to disease. So really learning about how the body works and what happens when you drop your carbs out, or if you have any ailments, how to put it all together. I've been doing it for so long. My people are my source of information. Sign up for a consultation, StephaniePerson.com. You can also find me on Instagram, which is Stephanie Ketogenic. My Facebook fan page, which is Stephanie the Business Person. I run a course where I cover all 3 diets, because some people's gallbladder and their the gallbladder and their hypoglycemia is so bad they have to start with carbs before they graduate off of the carbs and just into ketosis. And I run a course where I cover all 3 diets, because everybody has different problems. A lot of you guys have issues either with your gallbladder, hypoglycemia, or histamine. So not one diet fits all. That's why I cover all 3 now. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Also, what else? Yes, the challenge. I decided that I'm going to release the challenge in January, past all of the house building, the issues with the animals, the new dog that I found under my camper, puppy rather. Also, helping my mom. I'll be past all of that. And in January, we're going to start strong in 2024. I don't care if the world's flipping upside down. We're going to get it. Energy. And I'm out. Comment below. Tell me if you're confused about fat, or if you have a gallbladder issue, or if you do amazing on fat. Don't be afraid of gaining weight. Gaining weight is about hormones, not fat. Fat does not incite insulin. Carbs do. Stress incites insulin. I need to do another video on this because people are still confused that fat does not make you fat. You only get fat if your blood sugar is running high. So get that blood sugar down, get that insulin sensitive, and eating high fat will be like butter. And I'm out. Peace.